Welcome everybody to another Microcast for Western Mountains Baptist Church. My name is Gene Boucher, and today I have Jim Cockrum with the deacons with me tonight, and we're going to talk about benevolence.
Great.
How you doing, Jim?
Good, Gene. Thanks for having me.
All right, good to see you. So, what exactly is benevolence?
Yeah, great question. Benevolence, it's a fancy term really just for making sure that we're meeting the needs of our community, both within WMBC and then outside, in Kingfield, Salem, Freeman, New Vineyard, our local community.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. So what kind of things do you do? Like what exactly does Benevolence Committee do?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so benevolence really, at the core of it, I always... I think about when the disciples asked Jesus what the greatest commandment is in the law. And he replied to them, he goes, love your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And he goes, this is the greatest commandment. But he said the second one is just as important, which is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so that's really what, is at the forefront of our mind with this ministry, is to make sure that if our neighbor is in need, that we know about that and that we're trying to do something about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what are some of the needs that you might be looking for that you might help with?
Yeah, sure. Well, Jesus kind of continues and he tells the disciples, he goes, look, they're going to know you're my disciples by doing these 6 things. And he talks to them about feeding the hungry and, if you're thirsty, giving people a drink. He talks about visiting the sick and clothing the people that need clothing, visiting people, welcoming strangers, visiting prisoners. So he has these things that will identify people as being disciples of Christ. But I would say here in my time as a deacon and being involved in this ministry, it goes well beyond that. I mean, we're involved. There's so many situations that people find themselves in, that may not be, one of those, like maybe they, need to get their wood in, or maybe there's an electric bill they need help with, or, maybe you find yourself in an unplanned pregnancy. We have resources and connections to help, and people within this body that can be of help. Addiction is a big one as well, and so
yeah,
we have resources to help with that as well. And so again, it's situational, but the biggest thing for us is to be involved in our community and find out what those needs are. And if by chance you don't know one of us, reach out to us. Our website, we'd love to have you here on Sunday. We're pretty easy to find.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, you talk about doing all these things, but where's that money come from?
Yeah, good question. So at WMBC, I think maybe we're unique in this way, but our budget is, it's a public document. So all the money, all the tithes and offerings that come to WMBC, you get to see where those go. And so 10% of all the tithes and offerings go to this particular ministry. So we tithe basically all of the money that comes into the church, and it goes into benevolence, and it gets used, like we were talking about, in any number of ways to make sure we're meeting the needs of our community.
That is awesome. So, has there been a couple of examples of some things that maybe you've been involved in that have really touched your heart?
Yeah, I would say just in general, I mean, they all do, and but I would say in general that the people that I've met in this area are just resilient and strong and independent, and I think that's all really good. I think sometimes it can be hard for sometimes people to reach out though when they need help, and sometimes they reach out too late and things are it didn't need to be as bad as it was. But I can tell you that there's been a couple times when people have just been frankly hungry. Their family doesn't have food, and we've been able to. We put together food baskets for people, and there's been a couple of times where, how it works is, we reach out to them and we find out that would be a need that would help them, and we go grocery shopping, and we show up really with just a big basket, like a laundry basket of food. And sometimes those meetings are emotional because, until you're in a situation when you can't feed yourself or your family, and then someone helps you out like that, it's a really powerful thing, and it's a real blessing for all of us that are involved in that, type of work. But I would say those are the ones that stick with me probably the most.
Awesome. I can imagine. I mean, that must be, quite touching to be able to help somebody at their lowest, to fulfill the need, especially a young family or really anybody. I mean, nowadays, you mentioned food and everything is so expensive now, and
yeah, it really is.
It's tough. So there's a lot of families out there that are struggling. So that's awesome to know that you guys are out there doing that. So who oversees the Benevolence Ministry?
Yeah, so it's run by the deacons, and we're sort of on a rotating schedule. There's 4 of us. Obviously, I'm a deacon, and then David Fletcher, Brian Fitch, and Chuck Gallup would be the other 3 that kind of round us out. And like I said, our website, there's a tab for the deacons. You'll see our names and how to reach us. Our names and numbers are all in the bulletin as well, so if you do visit us, and frequently we're doing announcements too, so you'll see us on Sunday. Not too hard to find us, but yeah, it's run by the deacons, and we sort of have a rotating responsibility, like we'll do Deacon of the Month, but don't worry about that. I mean, really, the message to anyone listening is just call any of us, and we'll make sure we'll get you going in the right direction.
Yeah, because I mean, sometimes it's more comfortable for somebody to call somebody that they know.
Well, for sure.
And, I mean, you guys are all involved in the community and in different areas and whatnot. So that's awesome. And you guys do a great job with that.
Yeah,
so, is there a scripture that comes to mind that really speaks to you when you do this? Because I know all of you guys, this is coming from your heart. You really enjoy doing this and whatnot. But everybody has a scripture that really drives them to do those things. So you have a scripture in mind that does that?
Yeah, I do. I brought it in. I think all of us probably have a scripture that's really meaningful to us. For me, it's out of James in chapter 2, verses 15 through 17, and it goes like this. James writes, "If a brother or sister is without clothes and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, stay warm, and be well fed,' but you don't give them what the body needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith, if it does not have works, is dead by itself." And so, this to me speaks to what we were talking about kind of earlier when Jesus was talking to his disciples. It's like, if we have all of this faith and we're not exercising it through helping people in our community, it's what good is that faith? And so for me, this is a reminder to just be exercising our faith. And in fact, sort of our tagline at WMBC is love in action. And so that's really, I think, our entire church is kind of geared toward that, is making sure that we're showing the love of Jesus in the community.
Yeah, that's right there. So
I can't miss it.
So, well, that's awesome. I really do appreciate what you guys do. I know we've seen a lot of the families that you guys have helped. And I know that really touches a lot of people's hearts. That's just a great thing. Yeah, I think it's important for the community to know, we're here for you. We're here to help you, not just to share the gospel, but to help with your needs. So I hope that maybe if somebody's out there that's watching, if you or somebody that has a need, reach out to these guys, because they really do want to help, and it truly is their heart. So I really appreciate you coming out tonight, Jim. It's been awesome talking with you, and thanks for everybody who's watching today. Again, this is Gene with WMBC Microcast, and hopefully we'll see you in church.